Rhino Tribe, welcome back to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast, the number one podcast when it comes to wholesaling real estate. Now, let's remember, when we are talking about wholesaling real estate, we're talking about sourcing opportunities. If you are new to wholesaling, if you're wondering what wholesaling real estate is, if you've been in the real estate industry for a long time and you're still confused about what wholesaling is, it is very simple. Wholesaling is just the sourcing of opportunities, and you have three ways to do that. Okay, you can get referrals for it, where you're essentially just waiting for people to send you referrals because you're the guy, you're the gal that gets these deals done. That's the one way. Number two way is that you market for these opportunities, right? Through direct marketing, through direct mail or pay-per-click or bandit signs or something like that. Something that is a true marketing channel. Or number three, you go out and you prospect for it. And that is either done two ways typically. That is from door knocking, or my favorite approach, the TTP method, the talk to people, where you pick up the phone and you phone prospect these people. Now, in my TTP program, I have been pushing one main goal for 2019, and that is for everybody in my program to do a $50,000 deal as quickly as possible. Join the TTP $50,000 club. Okay, I've been pushing it because there is something that changes in your mind. Your literal brain chemistry changes when you get a check that is that big, because it's not big enough to where you're like, oh yeah, I'm retiring. Like it keeps feeding that beast inside you, that hunger, that hustle muscle that you've got inside you. But it's big enough to the point where you've never gotten a check like this and you're like, holy cow, I did this from one phone call. And that changes everything in your business, everything in your mind. So with that said, I want to read out, I have an unbelievable guest out of Kansas. He's from Kansas. He does business in Missouri. But let me read to you the post that he put on Facebook today, because I think it's going to hit home and really, really let you know about this unbelievably unique young man. When I set out, this is him, when I set out and started my house buying company, I told myself I'd be able to leave my job before 2019, and I did. It took 8 months. You miss every goal you don't set. I set another goal to have massive success my first quarter working my business full time. Another goal accomplished. I had another goal, which was to be interviewed by the top national real estate investor podcast in the country that only BAMF, B-A-M-M, go ahead and Google that, BAMF business owners make it on. Another goal accomplished. Small victories turn into big wins. But if you never start setting goals and following through with execution, you won't get enough to start building momentum. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce the author of this post, Mr. Cedric Vincent. Cedric, say hello to everybody.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Cedric Vincent, 24 years old. I'm in Lenexa, Kansas.
That's
excited
right.
to be on the show. I appreciate you for having me, Brent, all of Wholesaling Inc. I appreciate everything you guys do. Let's hit it.
Let's hit it. So let's start. Let's start with the first part of this. You said that you had a goal to leave your job. What was the job that you were doing before you started your real estate business in 2018?
Yeah, so I was working inside sales as a business advisor for a software company and marketing company. So I would literally call out to contractors, preferably contractors for me, all throughout the country, and I would sell them lead generating programs, websites, search engine optimization, phone book ads, everything marketing. So that's what I was.
And was this, you were working out of an office, you were working out of home, like?
Big office. I mean, hundreds of people, companies, a couple $1 billion. And we were the main workforce as to bringing on new business. And I was good at it as well. I just didn't want to do that forever.
Right. So you're doing, but this sounds like a big business. I mean, this sounds like you probably, if you really put your mind to it, you probably could have stayed in that business, been really, really successful, moved up the ladder of $1 billion business, and led a happy life. So what are you doing out here being an entrepreneur?
Man, that's what I'm meant to be. I can't take it. I was only in the workforce for 3 years, and the whole time I was trying to figure out what I was going to do to get out. Man, I started a painting company, multi network marketing companies. I thought I wanted to be a contractor. There's a ton of things. I even thought I kind of wanted to go back to school a little bit, but that didn't take long.
Sure.
Not at all.
Sure, got
So
it. And so then you found real estate. Where'd you find it on? Was it a YouTube? Was it somebody that you know? Was it a referral? Was it a podcast? Like, what brought you into this crazy world?
Yeah, so I was very non-skeptical because of the way that I was introduced to it. My cousin, mid-30s, lives down in Atlanta, Georgia. He introduced me, my family to it, and really put us on game as to what videos to watch, how he was doing it. And I kind of just started talking to him and took it from there. I mean, I believe I watched my first video last April. And like 2 weeks from then, I was calling a house, cold calling it. I'm meeting an owner, didn't know what I was doing, and I was trying to negotiate. I didn't know anything, but I was out there trying to make something happen.
Right.
Still had contact.
Yeah.
So
you just
what's that?
You just got a phone number and you took action. How did you know to even who to go after and how to get the phone number and how to even do so? Like, how did you know to get started?
I think I just watched some videos. They talked about bandit signs. They talked about vacant houses, driving for dollars. So I started doing it, but I didn't have the system laid in place. So it was real inconvenient. So I'm working in sales. I've got a nice system set up. I just didn't necessarily like it. So I didn't look further enough into videos to start seeing about a dialer system, targeted list, just more effective ways to get data and do deals.
Yeah.
So I only did that for about a week, and I just kept putting up bandit signs for 8 months.
For 8 months. And how did that go?
Man, I got calls from it. I still get calls. I just didn't get any deals.
Right.
You see?
Yeah.
I spent good money. I had websites. I was going out at night. I was really trying to make this thing happen, taking off from work. Just doing everything. Like, I thought it was going to pop for me, and it just wasn't popping.
So wait, you have a full-time job in sales, and then you get done with your job, and you're out putting bandit signs in. You're out taking calls in. You're out trying to negotiate deals. You're doing all this stuff. I mean, that's crazy, right? I mean, why wouldn't you just take the job and then afterwards relax and chill out? Weren't you exhausted, or are you just full of energy?
I'm 24 years old, Brent. I'm a young man. I don't have any kids. I don't have a wife.
Yep.
I'm a single bachelor. I figured this is the time for me to be up all night, to wake up early, go to bed late, not go to sleep at all some nights, be out late. I figured this is the time. I don't have to do it for 10 years.
Yep.
I just have to do it for a period of time until I can get the business to a point where, like you guys talk about, you automate and scale.
Yep. That's it. And I think that is a beautiful part that you touch on, because really building the foundation of your business based off of your experience, based off of your hard work, based off of you putting together the systems. Now, you can follow a path and a plan, and it's laid out there, whether it's Wholesaling Inc., whether it's TTP, whatever it is. But when it comes to like learning how to like be a real leader, learning how to understand what your people are going through, how do you know that if you haven't been through it, which you're going through it now, which I think is phenomenal, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Man, we're hitting it.
Yeah. So let's talk about what happened. So how did you get your first deal, and walk us through that, and then we're going to talk about when you decided to just hit it out of the water. Hit it out of the park and join the 50K club. So let's talk about your first deal.
Okay, so I'm going to preface that first deal, which was a $12,100 assignment check, to a check I made 3 months into the business, which was for $2,100, but it wasn't all by myself. It was a JV deal with a wholesaler out of Texas. 18-year-old kid was calling off of Craigslist. I helped him negotiate the deal. I got it under contract, sent it out to my buyers list. Within 24 hours, I had a buyer. But I didn't get another deal until it would have been January. And I gosh, man, Brent, I'm frustrated. I'm anywhere I could go. I'm starting to look at videos again, like wherever, and that's where I stumbled on the Wholesaling Inc. I started listening to. I just started following the steps. Get a list, put it in the Mojo Dialer, go to batskiptracing.com, coupon code TTP to get it at a discount.
Yeah.
Put it in your Mojo Dialer, and then call it. I even had the TTP script off of some of the podcasts. So it wasn't the real script, but it was enough, man. I've made, I don't know, thousands and thousands, if not hundreds. I've made a lot of calls to strangers all over the country. So it's nothing. I don't need a script.
Yep.
But script does help.
Yeah.
Definitely. But so I take off work one day, would have been a Tuesday or a Wednesday. I spend all day putting in a probate list.
Mm-hmm.
That next day, I just couldn't take it anymore. I said, I'm taking off work again. It's the end of the year. It's like I told myself I was going to leave by the end of 2019.
Yep.
And I'm nowhere close enough. That second day, after cold calling for 2 hours, I get a guy on the phone. He says, yes, he'd consider an offer. I ask him how much. He only wants $24,000 for the property. I don't know, but I'm like, okay, let's go out. I meet him at the house a few hours later. And in that time frame, I get an ARV put together. In the house, I'd say it was about 75 to 80K ARV, only needed about 15K in repairs.
Okay.
So the max offer would have been around 37. So I knew I had a deal there. Ended up getting it under contract at 21. I offered him, I believe, 18 for it, and we fell in the middle at 21.
Yep.
And man, I sent it out to my buyers list, and once again, I got some hits on it. About a month later, 2-3 weeks later, I don't know how long it was, I had a $12,000 check.
Woo! I love it. And I'm going to save this bell for the big one, okay, because we're going to get into that. But some really, really important things, and I want you to peel back a little bit of the story here. So what was the list that you called on to get this?
So this one was a probate list for Jackson County, Missouri.
Yeah. So listen, go ahead.
I was going to say I got that list. Man, I went up to the courthouse one of those days as well, and figured out the code violations, probates, kind of some pre-foreclosures, and the probate was just the one that I went with.
So what do you mean you figured it out? You went up there, you asked them for it, and they gave it to you?
Nah, I asked around. I went through multiple steps. Like I got the list. It's not even with the county. It's like a newspaper or something.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
So
but
yeah.
You got it. You filtered it, and you got the numbers. Great. So here's the moral to that story, guys. Don't stop. Find some way to get that list. There is a way to get these lists, especially probate. Here's the deal. The statistics show that 75% of probate properties sell within the first 90 days of new ownership. That's just facts. That's data, okay? People that inherit these properties don't keep them. You would be surprised how many people are not real estate investors and have no interest in wanting to keep rentals or fix things up or flip them or do whatever. The people want to sell these properties. So definitely go after those probates. Now, the second thing that you talked about is you sent it out to your cash buyer database. How did you start from 0 cash buyers to having cash buyers? What did you do to build your cash buyer database? Yeah,
so when I really got things started, I would say last June, I got a couple websites. So I had a buyer's website and a seller's site with Carrot, and I just started putting them both on Craigslist.
Yep.
And one of them worked.
So you're saying Investor Carrot. Well, now it's carrot.com. It's a real estate specific for wholesalers website service. Yeah.
So just plug and play. I've been drawing buyers off of Craigslist every single day since.
What do you post?
Oh, man, I just post, like, sometimes it'll be a ghost ad. It may be a property I have, a property I already wholesale. Now it's usually one I used to have.
Yeah.
And I just put the description of it. It's generally a property that looks good. And then I'll let them know if you would like to be added to our buyers list, go to my website.
Now, do you put
So
pictures or is it just text?
I'll put a link to like a Dropbox,
Yep. Yep.
but either way, if they want to see pictures, they have to go to the website
Right.
and put their information.
Got it. Got it. Awesome. So that's how you've been building up your cash buyers. So now you've got their email and you've got their name. You send it out to them, and somebody's like, "Hey, they call. Did they call you up? Did they respond by email? Do you remember?"
Yeah, so I had a lot of people call me. I had quite a few people email me, and the guy that ended up actually getting it was somebody that had called me off of one of my bandit signs.
Awesome.
Looking for.
Yep.
So he was a younger investor, and he ended up, man, he paid more for the house. Everybody else wanted it for like 30, 31, and this guy he took it for 35.
Awesome. Awesome.
So
And in that's a really important thing, because not only are you talking to people all the time, but you need to be adding them to your cash buyer database. You never know, even if somebody has a bunch of properties, or they sold properties, or they don't want to sell their properties, they might want to buy, right? They might want to buy a smoking deal in an area that makes sense to them. So absolutely do what Cedric is talking about and add them to your cash buyer database for sure. Let's talk about the big daddy. Let's talk about a big deal. Let's talk about what we commonly refer to as a massive deal, where we go and we change our whole financial future, and we get a deal, we make a call, we have a conversation, and it makes $50,000 or more. Let's talk about that, because I introduced this. I hyped this thing up. I'm like, this changes your life. Let's talk about that. Let's see if this is true. So tell us about your experience with what I'm saying.
Man, just still thinking about it, it's really incredible. Like that happened. Like, it's been a couple of weeks now, but it's absolutely incredible. I'll say your confidence and personal belief in yourself, in the business industry, any doubts you may have, they're just, and I don't doubt myself, but I didn't personally think my next deal was going to be, it turned out being 58 and some change.
Uh-huh.
So
walk us through.
Yeah. So I actually first made contact with this guy probably that first week when I left my job, which is crazy. That's the first time I talked to this guy. And the house I initially talked to him about, he ended up having other investors out to see it, had real estate agents out, and it really was just going dead. So I asked him if he had anything else, and we had already built up rapport. We had been talking, once a month for 2 or 3 months now, and nobody else called him. That's the thing. Like, each of my probate deals, they were never called by anybody else, only mailers.
Yep.
So I called him. We were just, me and his name was Mike. We were real friendly. A lot of rapport was built. That's something I like to really pride myself on doing. Like, I really want them to trust me. Like, we're buddies. I'm going to make this happen. Well, he told me about a few other properties that he had inherited that weren't on any of the documents anywhere. And one happened to be a fourplex in Parkville, Missouri, which is, I didn't even know where Parkville was. It's up north. And it needed work, but he didn't know how much he wanted for it, and he didn't know if he really wanted to sell it or not. But I really just stayed persistent on him, and he ended up finding out a number, had a contractor go by and told him that it could be, 40 to 80K to fix it up. And he was only looking for, when I first asked him, he didn't know. I called him again the next week. He wanted 100 to, I think he said 100 to 150 for it. So I'm thinking, this is a wide gap. I'm going to get this deal for $100,000.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. If he wants 100, it's a deal. That's a win-win for him.
Yep.
Because I had no clue how much this fourplex would cost, how much it would be worth. I just knew that if I could get it for 100, I could at least make a couple grand off of it. Well, he gets more of a precise number at 115 to 140, and I'm like, okay, let's see the house. It's time.
Yep.
But before meeting him at the property, I actually met him down the street, and I had a questionnaire of just some questions that I sat down and we just talked. I wanted to, get to know him a little bit more and really understand the situation better. And that questionnaire, I feel like, really got me over the hump because he was really liking it. Like he was reading it before. I wasn't even asking the questions.
Yeah.
He was just answering. So it really brought us a lot closer as to me understanding his situation and what he was really looking to accomplish from the deal. You know, what he really wanted for it.
Yep.
And then we went to the property and it was cool. We just walked it. It was really nice too. Like I wish I'd have had the money to keep it myself. The guy that got it, just minimal, just cosmetic, and he's gonna be renting this bad boy out. So man, we walked the property. It looked great. He wanted 115, and I knew it was a deal there. I didn't know how big, so I'm not gonna try to offer him 100. I offered him 110 just to not give him what he asked. And
right.
You know, at the report built, he said, you know, what the hell, Cedric? Let's do it.
Yep. Yeah.
You know,
so you went from 115, and I think it's really important. You know, even if they say 115, you go, well, is that the best you could do? Could you do 110? Because remember, remember the psychology of a seller. If you're selling your car on Craigslist or out there, whatever, and you put it out for 10 grand, and somebody calls you instantly and gives you 10 grand, and and they're on their way there, you're like, oh, what's your first thought? Your first thought is, oh, I sold it too cheap. It was too cheap. It got sold too fast, right? So you're always thinking. So if you go, well, you take less. No, okay, that works. So he goes 115. You lock it up, and then what happens? You send it out to your buyers.
No. So I locked it up at 110.
110, you did. Oh, awesome.
Yeah. I offered 110. I can't offer him I can't accept what he offered.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I love negotiation. I couldn't wait for that. Like I had all my lines ready. But yeah, 110, locked it up, got pictures, video, and also I did take a contractor route to this one. A contractor had called me off my bandit sign, so you called me looking for business. I don't usually use a contractor, but I wanted to make sure that, you know, my repairs were in the ballpark. So I got a professional estimate put together. The estimate was good. And then, I sent it out to my list. And this one came off of a Craigslist buyer as well. There was a lot of traffic. I gave everybody 2 hours to come for the inspection walkthrough. 4 guys showed up. And one of them, you know, he got the deal. He was serious. He was an out-of-state guy. He offered, about $10,000 more than everybody else. So, you know, I had to go with them.
It's incredible. So now with this deal, did you assign this deal or did you close it and then sell it? Like what'd you do?
Yes, it was a double close. So there was a few steps I had to, you know, all throughout this process. I generally, like, if I had some questions, I might reach out, but if I don't have an answer in like 5 minutes, I'm just going to figure it out. So, you know, I figured out how to do contracts for the double close to make it legal in Missouri. I figured out a title company that does double closing, which I hadn't found at this point in time. I did all that.
Awesome.
So
and just for everybody listening there that might not know, sometimes when you have really big spreads, what you want to do is you want to close it yourself and then have the buyer close it as well. You could do this with a double escrow or a double close. Now, with a double escrow, that essentially means that you use the funds from the end buyer to pay your side of the transaction. You got to see which title companies in your area do those and are familiar with those. But essentially what that does is it protects and it doesn't let the end buyer know how much you are making. Sometimes people get freaked out that you got such a good deal. Now, if you're working with buyers that you work with a lot, they don't. But if you just want to avoid any kind of friction, any kind of discomfort or whatever coming from the buyer or them trying to beat you up later, then you just do a double close or a double escrow. It doesn't show what you make, and boom, somebody's got a $58,000 check, right? Is that how much it was? What was the total?
It was 58,700, and the title company actually told me that is the biggest deal that they have done. And before you do the bell, let me get the bell for my Snapchat. Okay.
Yep.
I'm
you got it?
Yep, 58 grand.
1, 2, 3.
I've been waiting for that one, man.
There it is. 58,000 and some change. I'm telling you, part of the 50K TTP club. When did you join TTP?
I joined TTP on January 16th or 17th.
Right. When did that deal close?
This deal closed
327?
March the 25th or the 27th.
Yeah, I think it's behind you on the wall behind you. Now we just got to get.
Yeah, 27th. Yep, you're right. The 27th.
I love it. If you guys are watching this on the YouTube channel, which I hope you are, Brent Daniels Real Estate, just put that into YouTube. Behind him, he's got all of these really, really great either affirmations or tracking or just looking at the different some of the different focuses that he has on different lists. It's really, really, really incredible. My office is covered. I mean, you can see behind. I've got stuff everywhere. I think it's just important to be surrounded by these things. You know what I mean? I mean, it's exciting when you go into a room, a space, and all of a sudden the rest of the world is the rest of the world, and now I'm in a productive space where I can just go and just talk to people and really make an impact. So I really love that, man. That's awesome. So from one call, you pulled out this $58,000 deal, and it wasn't even for a deal that you were going for. You asked the all-important question, which is part of the script, when they say no, or they say they might not want to do you have any other properties you would consider selling? Boom. Asking that second part, question is what got you that deal, which is just absolutely incredible. Now, don't you feel like the sky's the limit? Like you could just keep going and going and going and building, doing bigger and bigger deals?
Yeah, and here's the thing, Brent. In all I've did in sales and entrepreneurship, I've always had a larger order size. Like when I worked in sales, if you could sell a $60 program or a $3,000 program, I'm going to sell more $3,000 programs than $60 programs. Because honestly, I feel that the amount of work effort that it took between this deal and even the deal of 2,200 or 14 grand was the same.
Yep.
If not easier.
It's just mindset. It's just mindset. So how do you develop that mindset for everybody out there that's wondering? How do you develop that?
Man, you just gotta instill it in yourself, man. I've been a baller my whole life, whether it was sports. Whatever. You just got to have that confidence about yourself. Yep. Even if you don't, just tell yourself you do. Just say, I am that guy. I am that woman. I am this, I am that. And eventually you're going to be it. Behind me, I am the best closer. I love cold calling.
I love it.
Days I didn't feel like cold calling. I looked up and it's like, well, I'm the best. They should be afraid that I'm calling them. Yeah. Because I'm going to talk. They're going to sell me a house they didn't plan on selling.
I love it.
But they need to. I love
it. It is, and we talk about it in this podcast. It's that identity part of yourself, that winner part of yourself, that pilot light that you have inside you that says, I'm going to win. I'm going to win. I don't care how many times I have to fail here, and here. I don't care how many times I got to get rejected. I'm going to win. I mean, it's just inevitable. So I might as well win big, right?
Exactly. On that note, there's something I need to say because I feel that it's not mentioned a lot. I actually got 2 houses under contract after like 3 weeks of watching videos and hanging some signs, and they didn't sell.
Yep. And why didn't they sell?
Well, I did it wrong. I got them at a price too high.
It's price.
It's
100% price. Yeah, it's 100% price, 100% of the time. That's the hardest part. The hardest part is this a deal or no deal? But you know what? How much did you learn from those ones? How much did you learn how to comp properties right, to understand values, understand opportunities?
Man, I would if I hadn't got those deals, I wouldn't have been able to. Gosh, it'd have been a rough start.
Yep.
But
100%.
Yeah, I learned. That's what I learned how to comp properties. With matter of fact, is those deals that didn't go through.
100%. You gotta get into this business. You gotta fail forward. I mean, that sounds like such a cliche thing, but there were so many deals. I'm telling you, there were so many deals that I started out with that I thought were smoking deals and nobody wanted. And you learn and you learn and you learn and you learn. And then you're like, there's no way you could get a deal for $110,000 and sell it for $168,000. There's no way, or $170,000. There's no way. And then you do it, and then you're like, oh my God, what else is possible? You know what I mean? That's why the 50K club in TTP is so, like, I'm pushing everybody towards that because I want everybody to feel that. Even if you're listening to this podcast, Cedric was doing deals off of this podcast, listening to this, like going through the steps. So, just unbelievable. So let everybody know, as we wrap this up, let everybody know how they can. Here's what's going to happen, okay? Here's what's going to happen. People are going to find your name. They're going to find you. And you know what they're going to ask for? They're going to ask for that questionnaire that you brought to that appointment, right? So get ready for that, right? That questionnaire that you brought. Huh?
Oh, the questionnaire, that's fire, I'm telling you.
Yeah, so people are going to reach out to you. So how do they reach out to you so that you can provide some value to this audience?
Yeah, the best place to reach me, I'm most active on Facebook. So that's just Cedric Vincent, CEDRIC, V as in Victor, INSON. And you can find me on Instagram at, it's going to be bound_4 greatness. And that's my Instagram.
Love it.
Yeah, I had that back in like high school. I knew I wasn't bound for greatness in football, even though I was a really good football player, but that's not what I wanted to do. That wasn't my dream.
Yeah.
So I just kept that handle, and it's like, this is what it was.
Love it. Love it. Absolutely love it. Well, thank you so much for getting on here. I mean, you're a young man at 24. You've already had your brain freaking reprogrammed with a 50K plus deal. I love it. You pulled it out of thin air from just talking to people. Anybody out there watching or listening, if you are interested in joining the same exact program that Cedric went through, the most proactive group in real estate investing, go to wholesalinginc.com/TTP. That is wholesalinginc.com/TTP. Set up a call with us. It'll be the best call. If it makes sense to you, if it's the right fit, if it's the right program for you, I will be working with you personally, just like Cedric. And yeah, that's it. What a phenomenal podcast this week. So keep listening, guys. We really appreciate everything, all the feedback that you give on this channel, on either YouTube or the podcast. We love it. We do it for you. Until next time, I encourage you to talk to people. See you later. See ya. Bye.